guys, welcome to Perth Watch, your horology channel broadcasting from right here in Perth, Western Australia. Today I want to do a comparison video between this and this, which is the real one. One of them is the real one that I reviewed not so long ago, the real Bell & Ross BR92 model. The other is a knockoff. I can't even tell as I'm holding this in hand here which one is the real one. I have to look closely to find the difference, and it is quite scary to me, so I wanted to highlight the differences between the real one and this particular knockoff for you guys for information. So let's just flip around and take a closer look at these watches. Alright guys, so here we have the pieces on the table, and as you look at it, hopefully you appreciate kind of how scary this is, you know, just how good the knockoffs can be. I mean, look at the finishing, you know, the bands, you know, right down to the logo, right down to the caseback actually, just show you the markings on the caseback. Obviously taken everything from the real one. So which one is the fake one? You know, can you tell? Can you tell me just by looking at what I've showed you which one's the fake one? I don't think I can, not without knowing for sure which one is the real one. So in all the shots here, I'll keep the real one on the left and the fake one on the right, including the macro shots, you know, to just show you guys the differences. And you know, really, it really is so difficult to tell if you don't have the real thing in hand. All right, so just going through the differences in this particular knockoff. The physical properties, dimensions are absolutely identical down to the thickness. Okay, so let's just show you the thickness shot. If you use a caliper, it's essentially indistinguishable between the two in terms of thickness, being 10 millimeters on this watch. So physical properties wise, it's only the weight that's different, and the real one is actually slightly lighter, 135 grams versus 141 grams, right? 6 grams heavier is the real one there on the right side. Even the strap length, right, the length of the rubber strap, so just show you the longer arm here of the strap is absolutely identical, you know, down to the contours and the millimeter length of the strap there. All right, so now let's talk about appearance in terms of the finishing. Okay, so the real one, without, you know, being as objective as I can, I think is actually finer, right? The brushing, right? So all the surfaces are finished in the same way in terms of brush and polish bevel, right? Longitudinal or vertical brush on the side. The side vertical brushing is very difficult to tell the difference, but I think the top, you know, circular brushing, the real one is finer. It's probably very difficult to see on camera. I'll try to put up some macro shots to, you know, maybe hopefully highlight it, but it's difficult to see. But the fake one is just a little bit coarser, you know, the lines are more obvious. This one you have to look closely to see the directions of the lines in terms of the real one. So just a very slight difference, you know, nothing that you can hang your hat on. If you just had the fake one in hand, you wouldn't be able to tell just by looking, I don't think, or at least I don't think I can. All right, so the back, I would say, is more obvious. So just turning to the back now, so you can probably see on the camera that it's just coarser on the one on the right, the fake one. Okay, and the writing probably very similar, but I think just in hand the writing, the printing or the engraving of the words is sharper on the real one. Definitely the brushing is finer on the real one, right? You can see that as I pan it on the camera and as I put the close-up shots for you guys. It's just coarser on the one on the right, which is the false one, the knockoff. All right, so that's really as much as I can say. I'll show you the buckles now while I'm talking about finishing. Right, you can see very close, very close. Again, slightly coarser on the fake one, but the main thing I find is the difference is that the transition is just sharper on the real one. Okay, the one on the left, right, sharper transition. The fake one just not quite there. It's just a smoother, not as straight a line. It's a more wavy line, right? So that's a little bit more obvious. One thing is that the fake one is definitely more limp, right? This one is firmer. Is that a real or fake thing? I don't even know. You know, maybe that's just a production thing. But this real one anyway is firm. This one doesn't hold up. Okay, it's limp. I guess you can say it's a limp buckle is what that has. Okay, next up in terms of appearance is the dial. Okay, very difficult to tell on this indoor shot in this camera, but okay, one thing is that the printing on the dial, the fake one is just slightly more off-white. The real one is more pure white, I guess closer to pure white. This one is just slightly more off-white. Hopefully that translates on the camera here as well as in the macro shots. One thing about the main thing about the dial that's different, I think you can tell by the naked eye, not by camera probably, but by the naked eye, is that the real one has a very fine matte texture. There's a fine texture in there that has a matte look. This one, the fake one, is actually more absolutely flat black, right? Just flat, no real texture that I can see, not with my eye. It's more featureless, very difficult to see, but you definitely can see with the naked eye, I find, especially in outdoor sunlight, you can definitely see that. And that's one difference, particularly with this fake. The strap, right? Dimension wise is exactly the same, but and it's very difficult to tell any difference here, but in sunlight I can tell you this is just slightly less black. It's a very dark gray, slightly less black, not quite as black. This one is just a more black, more pure black, I find. That's just something I can say. The BR is slightly sharper here. It's just not quite as refined on the fake one. So again, none of this you can easily hang your hat on, right? It's very difficult to tell, I think, if you don't have it side by side. Okay, then the main thing, otherwise you can tell the difference, is the movement, right? So the ETA 2892 was the movement of choice because you need that to make it that thin. It's very difficult to make a 2824 that thin. You have to give a bit more thickness. So if you want to make a fake one and not put a Swiss movement, not put a 2892 knockoff, you have to use a Miyota 9000. That's I think the easiest one to get your hands on, and that's actually what this has, is a Miyota 9000 movement, 28,800 beats per hour also, both of them. So the sweep of the second hand, I don't think you can tell, but you can tell by the feel of the windings. So the ETA has a certain feel. I want to say it's just smoother, less, you can't hear or feel the kind of gear work as you wind this, whereas this one, you can just feel it a bit more, very tangible. It does feel different. Grab a Miyota 9000 watch versus a 2892 watch if you have, and tell me if you can feel the difference. I can definitely feel the difference. This one's just more grindy, when I wind it. The other thing then, the main thing about the movement is that this is a bidirectional winder, so you can flick this watch and you won't get that flying, rotor feel, whereas this one, you can, okay? So if I flick it, so I can feel the rotor rotating around there. You can't hear it on camera, but you can feel the rotor kind of vibrating in the watch as it turns around in the non-winding direction. This one, you won't be able to get that. The other thing with this watch, I would say, is that it's a very loud ticking sound, very obvious. I can hear this from 2 inches away. Just gonna put it up to the camera microphone to see whether you can hear it. So not sure if that's going to translate to the screen, but I can definitely hear this from 2 inches away, whereas this one I have to put my ear right up to it to hear the Miyota in here. I definitely can't hear it from 2 inches away. All right, and that's really the only difference I can tell. So in summary, the main difference is 6 grams difference in weight, all right, the fake one being slightly heavier, the dial texture being visible on the real one and completely flat on the fake one. Okay, so that's another difference here. And then the lume, forgot to mention, another big difference. The lume is actually BGW9 in the real one, whereas it's a green lume in the fake one. The lume shots right here in terms of the comparison. So if you have the chance to look at the lume, that's another difference. You can tell the real one should be blue BGW9. And then the movement, this one coarser winding, and this one is bidirectional winding in terms of the rotor, whereas this one you can get the free, spinning rotor. If you flick it, you can get that free spinning non-winding direction, which is characteristic of Miyota. All right, so there you go. That's all you can tell, right? Not much in terms of absolute differences you can tell here. Very fine differences. So just, I guess, a video to show you how scary this was to see these two together. This is about a $300 fake, which is courtesy of my colleague James from work, who lent this to me. He knew it was a fake, a knockoff. This one is courtesy of Graham, the real one from Hardy Brothers in Perth City. Okay, so there we go, guys. Let's flip it around for the wrap up now.
So there you go, guys, my comparison between a real and a fake Bell & Ross BR92 model, the steel model, the most popular model in 42mm. Let me know what you think, if this scares you, if you have any Bell & Ross or in fact experience with knockoffs. I have a kind of a rule, unspoken rule, that I wouldn't review a knockoff and pass it off as a real thing. This video is purely for information and education. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Guys, if you enjoy my videos, do consider subscribing. New content every week, always aiming to be objective and unbiased about all things horology. Thank you again for sticking with me, and as always, I'll catch you guys again next time.